Greetings, my fellow freedom lovers and sovereign thinkers. Thank you for tuning in to LO3 Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful Ohio Valley area of West Virginia. And today's date is Wednesday, July 22nd, 2020. Yeah, I'm like, if you hear some echoing and so forth, I'm like under a shed here. Sorry about that. And I'm mainly outside in the Parkersburg area of the Mountaineer State, working on a few things on the property. Got things being achieved as I speak. So it's all good. Looks like there were some lockdowns happening again in California in the Ventura County section of the state. They're actually doing an actual conscripted quarantine in the one area. And there's even reports, too, even from the mainstream media. Looks like China's been burning, there's been like a fire in the consulate of China in the Houston, Texas area. Looks like they're burning documents. Can this be a prelude to war? Absolutely. Because I know the Mexican president did had starting to get a bigger relationship with Donald Trump, President Trump, and it's a burden on their Red Dawn mission. There's a big claim on that, like multiple groups of men from China, Chi-Com connection with the drug lords and all that. So, of course, they're not going to tell you about it. But I get other information from other places, like Mike Adams and Dave Hodges, a few others. Yeah, you should look up this alternative media. It's very good stuff. And, of course, they're trying to still do the coup on there on President Trump. They always got to be aware. They want you to believe the republic is dead. But anything can happen. It's up to every individual to be ready. And that's a fact. A lot of these called blue cities, government knows best cities and communities and counties and states, trying to dictate to people. And they think it's for your own good, but actually it's tyranny. If you gotta leave them, do it. Because they don't really give a damn about you. They're going to claim they're going to protect you. In reality, they have no obligations under sovereign immunity tort liability. It's in all 50 states. You can look it up. It's not that hard. And I talked about this in my show multiple times. So it's one of those areas we always got to look at. But I'm doing all right. I know I haven't done a show in a while, but the people have been downloading, checking my shows out. Still, thank you. I appreciate it. And, of course, like I said, I'm just a little bit mellow right now, confident, but being vigilant as well. So, hope for the best for everyone, single one of you out there, not just in this particular state or our constitutional republic as a whole, but around the world. Things are supposed to be occurring, so prepare yourselves at the best of your abilities. The information war is a big battle. This is why mainstream garbage media, I've been watching some of the stuff and falling asleep. I have a colleague of mine that has the TV on all day long. And I'm like, and we laugh about it, don't get me wrong. Some of the stuff they're trying to use, the whole Marxist propaganda, add to all these sports networks, sporting establishments. I just laugh. I'm like, good grief. So enough of a little bit of a rant. And I just got this from the Broward County Commissions via Twitter by Commissioner Galler, Vice Mayor, who was a career politician. Talks about the mandatory mask. And this is interesting what he has to say. So this came out a couple of days ago, July 20th. Steve Galler wrote this in the South Florida Sun Sentinel. You have no constitutional right to go mask-free in a pandemic. It's just an opinion. Let's just see what Mr. Know-It-All has to say. I keep hearing people say they have a constitutional right not to wear a mask during the COVID-19 pandemic. They're wrong. Let me begin by saying that Broward County Commissioner members are doing everything we can to avoid shutting down the economy again. We know that if we close restaurants and businesses again, many will never reopen. However, Broward's percentage of positive COVID-19 tests continues to climb. Our ICU utilization percentage continues to grow. Our overall hospital available bed space continues to diminish. If we can't turn these numbers around, we may shortly have no choice other than to renew the stay-at-home, shelter-in-place orders that we had several months ago. Okay? And I read the order, and I'm not too impressed. Okay? On the rhetoric on there. And it's funny because there's a few exceptions. If you're, police, fire department, going to from work, media. So I'm a podcaster. I can roam around I can go roam around between the hours of 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. and do my show. Yep, media. Podcasting is media. So remember that, all you podcasters out there, you can go out and about, do your interviews, videotape everything, because you are part of the network. Okay? It's so bland. It's hilarious. So I'm going to continue on here. I'm on my phone, by the way, so if you hear me, if you're rattling going on, I was okay. Fortunately, we know how to fight the spread to COVID-19. Wear a face mask, social distance, and wash your hands with soap and water. Thank you, Master. Without you, I'll be scratching my rear end. How pathetic is this, folks? The same old song and dance. And that's this form of commentary. His viewpoint is like have a hamster in the wheelbarrow going and going and going. Okay, the whole method, spinning your wheels? Absolutely. Wearing the mask when around others is critical. The CDC says the World Health Organization says this. So is he part of the New World Order? Yes, Master. May I have another? But I'll continue on. Every major reputable study completed in the last 3 months, Johns Hopkins, Mayo Clinic, and Lancet says this. A few earlier studies before we understood COVID-19 as well as we do now, we may have had conflicting or inconclusive results, but there is now clarity, and it's not that difficult. If you want to fight the pandemic and keep our economy going, wear your mask in public. Will you be wearing yours, sir, in public? It's like a form of involuntary servitude, but I'll continue on here. For reasons ranging from partisan politics and obstinacy, that's the word. Many people nonetheless refuse to wear a mask. They claim a fictitious constitutional right not to wear a mask. People have indicated that the Constitution guarantees the right of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Wrong document. That's the Declaration of Independence. See, I guess it looks like he's been talking to dimwits, or just made this up. Allegedly speaking, that is. Governments have extremely broad police powers to protect the public, especially during pandemics. As the U.S. Supreme Court said in Jacobson versus Massachusetts, a community that has the right to protect itself against a pandemic of disease which threatens the safety of its members. Okay, so he's going to be using an opinion from the U.S. Supreme Court. In every well-ordered society charged with the duty of conserving the safety of its members, the rights of the individual, and respect of his liberty, may at times, under pressure of great dangers, be subjected to such restraint to be enforced by reasonable regulations as safety of the general public may demand. So, I'll continue on here. This principle was restated on May 29th when Chief Justice John Roberts wrote in South Bay United Pentecostal Church versus Newsom, when state officials undertake to act in areas fraught with medical and scientific uncertainties, their latitude must be especially broad. Some people have tried to find exceptions to this general principle by claiming they have a religious right not to wear a mask. Wrong again. Okay? This is what he's trying to tell you. But it's I'm going to continue. It's more like a guilt trip on how he writes this. The same principles, wrong again, the same principles cited above apply here. Florida has a religious protection law called the Religious Freedom Restoration Act that's stronger than the U.S. Constitution in protecting religious freedom. However, as the Florida Supreme Court in Warner versus City of Boca Raton, a plaintiff who claims that a government regulation constitutes a substantial burden must prove that a governmental regulatory mechanism burdens the adherent's practice of his or her religion by pressuring him or her to commit in a forbidden act by the religion or by preventing him or her from engaging in conduct or having a religious experience which the faith mandates. So, like I said, mind control 101? Yeah. A substantial burden, the ruling continues, must place more than an inconvenience on religious exercise. It is akin to significant pressure, which directly coerces the religious adherent to conform his or her behavior accordingly. A requirement to wear a mask clearly doesn't substantially burden any religious practice. Some people object to wearing face masks based on a right of privacy guaranteed under the Florida Constitution. However, the courts held this right applies only if someone has reasonable expectation of privacy. No one has an expectation of privacy about wearing a face mask in public or in business establishments. If there is any constitutional privacy protection, it would apply to being forced to remove masks, not to prevent people from wearing masks. In short, there are no valid legal arguments that people have a right not to wear a mask. Don't be selfish. Help protect the economy and your family and friends and neighbors. Wear a mask. This is Steve Geller. Of course, he's a vice mayor of Broward County and a former state senator and an attorney. So, you're gonna let an attorney tell you how to think, how to live? And don't get me wrong, folks. You heard enough of my shows in the past when I told everybody that this coronavirus, COVID-19, is a bioweapon. But the problem with this article, he used opinions, and he never really talked about the Florida Constitution. And I want to go through this, one of the two main discrepancies of his viewpoint. And when we look at the Florida Constitution, one moment, folks. It looks like I had a little bit of a echo here. Let me see what I can do. Okay, let me see what he got. Come on. So it's funny because he forgets to use the Florida Constitution. Article 1, Section 2, Basic Rights. All natural persons, female and male alike, are equal before the law and have inalienable rights, among which are the right to enjoy and defend life and liberty, to pursue happiness, to be rewarded for industry, and to acquire, possess, and protected property. No person shall be deprived of any right because of race, religion, national origin, or physical disability. Of course, you can sort of argue about that. See, he forgot to tell you this in the Florida Constitution. So when it comes to life, liberty, and to pursue happiness, Article 1, Section 2 of our state constitution. And, of course, religious freedom. Article 1, Section 3. There should be no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting, penalize the free exercise thereof. Religious freedom shall not justify practices inconsistent with public morals, peace, or safety. No revenue of state or any political subdivision or agency thereof shall ever be taken from the public treasury directly or indirectly in aid of any church or religious denomination or in aid of a sectarian institution. So, right there, even this order is an edict. Okay, the emergency order he's trying to defend is invalid. And of course, if you want to go a little further here, we go all the way down to Section 23, which is right of privacy. Which is right of privacy. Where are you? I consider this a little bit treasonous, I would say, in good faith. It's just my personal intake. Every natural person has a right to be let alone, and free from government intrusion into the person's private life, except as otherwise prohibited herein. This section shall not be construed to limit the public's right of access to public records and meetings as prescribed by law. And even if you look at the local constitution, okay, I believe it's Article 7 or 8. Let me just find out here. It's one of those two. Nope, it is 8. Let me look at 8. Get out of the way. Beep. Come on, thank you. If you look at Section 8, under local government, because technically, too, is an invalid contract. If you look at Article 1, Section 10, prohibited laws, it's an impairing contract. So it does not. If it conflicts with the Constitution, it's null and void. An interesting thing about that, because they want you to assume, okay, and they can't do that. And of course, there's certain areas too on Section 8 about local government and the counties and all that. It's supposed to go equivalent with the Florida Constitution. So I'll definitely leave that in here. But I do find it pretty hilarious when they try to make do things a little bit different. But one thing I'm going to add here as well is Broward Resolution, which was passed May 6, 2003. I've talked about this multiple times, and I like what it says here. It's about affirming the civil rights of all residents of Broward County. Whereas Broward County, Florida, has a long, distinguished history of protecting and expanding the civil rights and civil liberties of its residents. That's Provision 1. If we hit Provision, this is mainly about the Patriot Act and the Health Powers Act, which never really passed. But if you look down here, on that 6th provision, the Bill of Rights of the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Florida guarantee those living in the United States the following rights: freedom of speech, assembly and privacy, equality before the law, and a presumption of innocence, access to counsel, due process and judicial proceedings, and protection from unreasonable searches and seizures. And we'll hit the 9th provision. Broward County has been and remains committed to the protection of civil rights and liberties for all citizens of Broward County, and the Board of the County Commission believes that a threat to any one person's constitutional right is a threat to the rights of all. And of course, they do honor the Bill of Rights and the 14th Amendment on this as well. So the question I have for Mr. Geller, how come we didn't bring these up? You're supposed to be an attorney, an expert, right? The problem is, sir, you used a incorporate doctrine and case law from the Supreme Court, even Florida. I call it an opinion. And it's been really vague, with all due respect, sir. And I can tell you this, the way you wrote this is nothing more than Puritan politics. Liberty for me, but none for thee. Do people have a responsibility on being vigilant on their health? Absolutely, without a doubt. And there's actually multiple things you can do now to counter COVID-19 instead of the whole song and dance you got from the CDC and the World Health Organization, which, do you know, sir, if you haven't been paying attention, there's a lot of false positives. I don't think so. I'm just wondering are you bought and paid for? You use your attorney rhetoric to get my attention? Forget it. It's unacceptable. Your viewpoint is meek and unmerited. And that's the damn truth. You haven't used the Florida Constitution. You want to violate people's natural rights. And all those folks in Broward County and everywhere else, you better start learning to use natural rights instead of constitutional rights. The government didn't give you anything. You were born with them. And trust me, I've used that many years ago with the speech permit, November 8th, 2011. This is Bertha Henry's document, by the way, this order. And Geller's gonna defend it? I'm sorry, Geller. Your viewpoint is nothing more than a rhetorical deception. And I'll give you a little lighter note here to everyone out there. I'm going to add an article about natural remedies and the fight to treat COVID-19. I've been using elderberries, licorice, and all that. So there's an article here from Athena Health, which is pretty cool. So observe responsibly, of course. Just look it up. So I'm going to add this to my memo to let everyone know. Every affection has an Achilles heel. If you're going to go around whoring yourselves and not caring, then you got to take responsibility for your actions. And what Geller is stating, he's saying the police state's okay. Wear the mask in public. It gets real hot down there in the summertime. It's another thing you got to look at too, sir. It's a form of involuntary servitude without due process. And folks, if you want to learn about this, it's happened in the past with the Spanish flu of 1918. So Geller, get with the program or get the hell out. As far as I'm concerned, you already breached your oath of office by defending this tyrannical edict. If there's no victim there, how's that a crime? So if you're going to arrest people and cite people for not wearing a mask in public, everyone gets accused of that, ask for a jury trial under Article 1, Section 22 of our state constitution. Bottom line is this: if there's no victim, there is no crime. Jury nullification works. And that will be it. I thank everyone for listening, plus feel free to download and share throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or if you something that's interesting you want to check out, whatever you do, please send your correspondence with decorum. Furthermore, I'll leave the footnotes on my Spreaker page. And if you want to donate, you can hit me at paypal.me/LokiLuck3 altogether. All right. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading the love. And may your guardian spirits be with you.